Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Bulgari Octo Bi-Retro Brazil FIFA 2014 limited edition of 50 pieces. You can see and you can purchase this Steel Sports Bi-Retrograde Jump Hour on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Bulgari Octo Bi-Retro Brazil limited edition. Now, if the watch looks a little bit familiar, it's because it is based on the Bulgari Octo Bi-Retro, itself inherited from the great Gerald Genta manufacturer of La Sentier. Now, the design is Genta. The particular execution of the dial and the technical support when it comes time to send the watch in is Bulgari. So it's really a best of all possible worlds. The dial is scintillating. The actual movement itself is incredibly accomplished high horology. And with Bulgari, you have fit, finish, and service support to match the very best in the industry from a true manufacturer. So how does it fit? Well, it fits like the standard Octo Bi-Retro, which is to say 42.5 millimeters across the broad of the case from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, at least as we would conventionally describe a watch. It's also remarkably slim considering the complications, only 12.7 millimeters thick, and with a generously sloped and stepped bezel, this is an easy watch to slide underneath a dress cuff. Perhaps more exuberant than formal attire would warrant, but it is the man who makes the watch. If you can pull it off, if you have the panache, go for it. From lug to lug, once the strap has been cut and sized, it fits quite well on a smaller wrist, as the lug to lug measurement is a very reasonable 48.5 millimeters. Now, the strap is fairly rigid, so it flares a little bit, creating a broader stance across the wrist. But again, when cut to length, it will fit well on a small wrist, in my opinion, down to 15 centimeters in circumference. Now, the watch has a nice broad case back that ensures there's no pressure points or hot spots. In spite of a case featuring 110 facets and profound angularity, the watch doesn't feel sharp or cutting against the wrist at all. It's beautifully planned, executed, and ergonomics are an important part of the planning and the execution. The strap is part of the style of the watch. You can see layered, it almost has a sort of recursive pattern like a lobster tail, each facet flowing into a smaller version of itself, tapering off to the underside with a gridded texture to prevent any kind of banal blandness. Beautifully conceived, it's one of the watch's numerous throwbacks to the era of Gerald Genta, as you can see the interlocking G motif on the back of the strap, hailing from the original Genta manufacturer, just as is the Gerald Genta GG 7722 movement. More on that in a moment, but the clasp is all Bulgari and beautifully made. Steel, double folding with twin triggers. It's very secure when closed, which is good because this is a hefty steel sports watch, so you have security and a quality closure mechanism when it's closed. Again, cut to suit, it'll fit beautifully. Now, the watch also features a stunning combination of angles and curves. Angles characterize the case, curves characterize the bezel, and you can actually see how the bezel sits on a plinth that is faceted, geometric in character, in contrast to the rounded character of the ceramic bezel itself. You'll also note how the polished beads of the bezel trace the roughly 270 degrees of the retro scale and then taper off on the bottom, disappearing entirely for the bottom 90 degrees, allowing you to focus entirely on the vivid yellow lacquered date register. 2 retrogrades, one for the minutes, one for the date, a jump hour, and it does change precisely at the 60-minute mark. Very precise. It's also fairly tough, as Bulgari obtained, as its Gerald Genta predecessor, a patent to ensure that the jump hour could have its minute adjusted fore and aft without damaging the movement, and also be robustly resistant to shock and vibration without accidentally jumping the hour early. Now, moreover, there's a refinement on the case flank. It's a pusher adjuster that allows you to cycle the watch in 1 hour steps without changing the minute. So every time you press the pusher adjuster, the hour will jump and the minute hand will return precisely to its previous position. Now, yes, the watch does feature a quick set for the date, and even though it doesn't feature a seconds indication, it also features hacking seconds inherited from the Girard-Perregaux 3000 family base movement. What makes this version, FIFA 2014, special is the remarkable Champlavé lacquer dial. Now you can see lacquer here in yellow and blue and green, the colors of the Brazilian flag since 1889. What you can't see is that the dial has been carved out to create hollows and wells that provide the framework separating the individual lacquered components. Like all beautiful lacquer, it's rich, it's glossy, it's wet and reflective, almost like enamel, but in this case more colorful than any enamel execution that you'll find in this price range. Now the watch does feature a beautifully rendered movement. You can see this is known as the GG7722, GG standing for Gerald Genta. Once upon a time, this was a Girard Perregaux caliber elaborated by Gerald Genta during the 90s and 2000s to incorporate the in-house module that provides the jump hour and the bi-retrograde action. Now I'm going to unhack the balance, start it up again, beats weight 4 Hertz, 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it enjoys a 45 to 46 hour power reserve. Now this is known as the Potter Gold finish. The golden bridges, plates, and rotor all featuring a tight, even, and beautifully laid perlage treatment that's highly unusual and distinctive of these movements. Again, this is a high horology base movement and automatic paired with an in-house ultra haute de gamme bi-retro jump hour. As one of 50 pieces made, it's rare. It's beautiful, but with 100-meter water resistance, a steel and ceramic case, as well as a rubber strap, it's also versatile. Welcome anywhere formal or informal attire might be worn. If this is going to be your only watch, it's going to be exceptionally unusual a choice for a sole timer. This is a one-watch collection that would be a little uncharacteristic. Typically, one-watch collections are an Omega Speedmaster Professional or a Rolex No-Date Sub, but this is a watch that could literally scratch every itch as a limited edition, a sports watch, a thin automatic high horology piece, a rare reference, and an exquisite example within that reference family. You can see it and you can purchase it on our website.